The 5 Pillars of Massive Scale 2025 report. So, if you are new to the 5 Pillars of Massive Scale, it's a framework that I created in 2018, launched it publicly in 2019, and this was after working with Tai Lopez for 2 years straight in his company directly with him. And I created a methodology, a framework that revolves around timeless marketing strategy and business advisory, all packed into one framework I call the 5 Pillars of Massive Scale. So this framework has been applied to multiple businesses. I've used it for my consulting and advisory clientele, as well as my own businesses and brands that I own. And the 5 Pillars of Massive Scale are personal brand, capital, which is financial, relationship, and knowledge capital. It's influencer marketing, right? Think UGC now, think affiliate marketing, think all types of marketing with a person or individual that is a thought leader or someone who has a lot of followers, okay, a lot of reach. That's influencer marketing in a nutshell. Number 4 is catching trends. And what is a trend in today's world? AI, right? The use as well as combination of AI and humans, okay? And then the last one is live calls. And this right here is when I first created it, right? And I documented it on my Instagram page. And so you can watch this one. This one's a 2019 version. There's another one I did on my YouTube channel for 2023. It was very informal. I just did like a Google Doc and then listed the 5 and then I just ran through it. This 2025 report on the 5 Pillars of Massive Scale is going to be, again, similar to the 2023 report. This is, again, on personal branding, capital, influencer marketing, catching trends, and live calls. This is really going to be for entrepreneurs and business owners who are looking to scale, okay? To scale their brand and business to the masses, to the top of your industry, all right? The reason why I decided to create this framework in general was because this is just my bread and butter. This is like what I do, right? I have a marketing consulting firm where I create timeless marketing strategies and give business advisory to entrepreneurs and founders and business owners who want to get to the top. So here's how the video is going to work. I'm going to be sharing in big picture. So just think like big picture thoughts, ideas, frameworks. And then I'm also going to tie in small tactical step-by-step instructions, steps, directions, etc. So bridge the two, and then that's actually how you create your roadmap and you're able to let your learning lead to action, okay? So everything that we share on my channel is to give you the lessons, the stories, the knowledge, the frameworks, the tactics, and then bridge the gap from learning to action. So that way you can implement today, right after this video, or even as you are consuming this content, you start to understand, all right, here is that one piece that was just missing. It's a gap that we are now collapsing. So that way you can get to your goals faster. All right, so starting with number 1, personal brand. If you're paying attention to social media, there is a huge, huge market of people investing in their personal brands. You're either a founder, a business owner, or a content creator, and you've gone all in to personal branding. That means that you are investing into content. You're actually filming, editing, and posting content. You either hired a team, a content marketing team, to film, edit, post for you, all in hopes of doing 3 things really, right? Lead generation, referrals, and revenue. Personal branding is on the rise. It's not going anywhere. In fact, in the next 18 months, I would say, there's going to be a huge, huge discrepancy where personal brand is at the forefront of everything in the world. And then the second one is AI. And we're going to get to AI later down the road in the catching trends part. But personal branding, right? There is a gap that is widening even more, right? There's people who don't want to do a personal brand, and there are people who are actually investing millions of dollars into building their personal brand. And if you just look at the landscape of social media, because we're talking about entrepreneurs and business owners, you are seeing, whether you're participating or not, you are seeing a huge trend, a huge growth in trend of founders are building their personal brands. And now it's a race to the top. It's literally like who can capture the most market share from views, who can capture the most market share in terms of revenue, who can capture the most audience share, right? The biggest community possible, where you are now literally, you're kind of like building your own army, right? Through your content. And so the race is on, right? The race is on for who can get to that top level. And not only that, but also here's urgency, natural urgency. Because everyone in the world that you see online who's building a personal brand, I'm shooting a video right now, using my face as the brand to represent my company. It's just a matter of time before you start to really feel the pressure to actually do this yourself, especially if you have a business or a company where you need traffic, you need market share, you need to capture market share. You actually need to get attention, right? That's why they say it's the attention economy. It's because everyone is now fighting for attention. And guess what? In the next 18 months, social media is going to be even more status quo. It's going to be basically an essential avenue that you must take and partake in order to actually capture market share from the ecosystem, from the market, right? So guess what? You have to participate in that ecosystem. You have to participate in that market, in this system. Otherwise, you're going to get left behind. And you've already seen it, right? If you're really studying what's happening in the world, in the business world today, content creators on social media that are leveraging these platforms, these tools to capture attention, to capture market share, they are out competing, outperforming all the corporations and old companies that have been established already. Now they're capturing their market share and taking from them. So those old companies are now trying to say, all right, how can we build personal brands? How can we do user generated content to capture market share? How can we go viral? How can we create more content and social media so that way we can actually hold on to the clients and customers that we had in the first place? One of the biggest takeaways from this one segment alone, right, this pillar of personal branding is how can you get started on this today? And if you're already doing it, then how can you actually outperform, outcompete, and dominate this market, this segment that you're competing in? Because it's going to be a race to the top. It already is. That's why a lot of founders are doing podcasts. They're trying to go on podcast tours. They're trying to go on speaking tours. They're trying to capture as much content as possible and posting it all over the platforms simply because they already know the truth. Personal branding is one lever that you can pull, which unlocks massive scale for your brand and business in today's world, okay? So if you're not building your personal brand, get started on it today, immediately. All you have to do, grab your phone, film, edit, post. Film, edit, post. Film, edit, post. That's it. Those three things, you're gonna learn as you go. And then if you want to cut the learning curve and you wanna collapse the gaps from just beginning to getting results, you have to hire experts, hire a team, invest in your media company, which is yourself. Okay, especially if you're the founder and the face of the company and brand that you're representing. All right, you're driving traffic and attention to your brand, your product and service. You have to invest right away. Start to work on it right away. If you don't have the resources, then again, become creative. Film, edit, post yourself. If you do have the resources to allocate, then film, edit, post, but have a team that does it. All right, that's number one, personal branding. That's one of the 5 pillars of massive scale. For the next 10 years, it's not going to go away. For the last 10 years, I've already seen this happen. I was already there in the trenches. I was building my personal brand alongside the people who are at the top already with their personal brands. It's not too late, but the window of opportunity is slowly fading. So you got to get on it right away, okay? So personal branding is number one. Second one is capital, okay? There are 3 different types of capital I like to talk about, okay? 3 different types. The first one is financial capital, which is money. The second one is relationship capital, which is your network, your connections. And the last one is your knowledge capital, okay? It is your research, your studying, your experience, the lessons you've learned, etc. Okay, being in the trenches, doing the work. That's your knowledge capital. You have to figure out a way where all 3 are combined, and when you have this as an asset, like a structured asset, you bring your ideas into a tangible form, into like a framework, for example, where it's a step-by-step roadmap or a step-by-step plan that you now just take action on, or you have your team take action on, then you are now using this capital to your advantage, right? Because this is leverage again, right? Each pillar of the 5 pillars of massive scale is leverage, okay? It's always leverage. You're unlocking a different leverage point for your business to get to massive scale. When it comes to capital, if you have the resources, financial resources, then this is about investing into a content marketing team. And then from there, scaling your personal brand or your company brand, right? With faces, right? It could be your employees, it can be yourself as the CEO or founder. That's the first one, financial capital. That obviously, if you have money, that's the fastest way, okay? That's the fastest way with the right people on the right team. The second one is relationship capital, right? It's your experts in your network. It's the people that know someone that has a solution to your problem today. You get to connect with them right away, right? I call it high status networking, where you are in a position of high status, and because you are a high status person, high status founder, business owner, etc., you are a very important person, a VIP. Then it's super easy and very simple to just connect with someone else who is very high status and knows how to solve the problems that you have, okay? So that's high status networking right there. That right there is relationship capital. right? Being able to leverage the relationships that you have inside your phone right now, today, in your list, even on your social media. If you're connected with very important people on social media, it's just one DM away, one message away, one text message away, right? So that's leveraging your relationship capital to solve the problems in real time today. The third one is your knowledge. If you already did 10, 20, 30 years of experience, expertise, of learning the lessons, of making the mistakes, of hitting and achieving success at whatever level that is, from 1 million to 10 million to 100 million or even a billion, whatever that is for you, you have knowledge capital that you can leverage. That's your unfair advantage that you can leverage in today's world. If you have a problem and you have the knowledge already, it's just about implementation. It's bridging the gap of, I have here this information, this piece of knowledge, this proven step-by-step process, this proven thing that we just need to do and implement. And you, like if you have an employee or your team or you're working with the client or whatever it is, whatever that is, whatever that looks like, the problem, you have the answer to it. You just bridge the gap. It's called knowledge transferring. You bridge the gap, and then from there, they're able to execute and they get the results. And that solves the problem for that, okay? So those are the three different ways that we use the capital, a pillar, to solve problems fast, right? Again, every single problem in a business, there's always a solution, right? If it's a lack of revenue, then guess what? What is the solution to lack of revenue? Obviously, it's more leads, more referrals, and then basically closing those, right? The conversion method. And then from there, getting the results, which is the dollars into your business. So that way it affects the top line revenue in a positive way, okay? So that right there is a problem. I need more revenue. Well, what's the solution? I just need someone to buy something that I have to offer, so that way it collapses the gaps, and then from there revenue is now created, okay? Now, obviously, revenue is not the number one thing that we go after, right? It should be profit, net profit that you get after the top line revenue comes and hits the bottom line. But again, I'm just illustrating a point that when it comes to capital, using capital as leverage to solve problems is one of the fastest ways to collapse the gap to get your results. Okay, from point A to point B, you collapse the gap, you get your results, and then you can move on to the next step. The call to action here is figure out what capital piece you need to use today to solve the problems you have in your business today. Okay, it could be finance, right? Money. It can be your relationships, who you know, and it could be your knowledge. If you already know better, then just be better and do it. Okay, do the work. Okay, that's capital in a nutshell. Third pillar, massive scale, influencer marketing. This is not something new. We now know that social media is tried and true. We know that views translates into conversions. So views translates into revenue. In other words, content translates into conversions. And as long as you're able to convert these followers, these viewers, etc., whatever that is, that attention basically, then it can lead into real results for revenue. All right. Again, the 5 pillars of massive scale is to get everything, all your numbers, all the results, all the KPIs, whatever it is that you have, that you track, to the top, okay? You want to become the best of the best. You want to dominate your industry, dominate your market that you're in. That means revenue, that means brand, that means legacy. Those are the three things that we're optimizing for when it comes to the 5 pillars of massive scale. You want to be the best of the best, the go-to authority in your industry, all right? So when it comes to influencer marketing, there's multiple different ways now that influencer marketing is now being used and applied for brands. We have user-generated content. We have founder-led content. We have influencer marketing, the old school, like you just pay a celebrity influencer to promote your product or service or your company, whatever that is, right? All these different ways, affiliate marketing, ambassador marketing, all these different ways, that is in the pillar of influencer marketing, where you are using a key person of interest, a VIP, someone who's super important that has the reach for your specific product or service, and you are acquiring them and onboarding them as an asset to help you scale your business to the top. Pick from any of those things I listed. Affiliate marketing is really big right now. It's only growing. Affiliate marketing really comes from the network marketing space, in my opinion. This is just my perspective on it. But how can you enlist an army of marketers, an army of affiliates, an army of promoters where they buy into your mission, your message, your vision, your product and service, and then from there, they on their own accord start to infiltrate and expand and expose all of the people in the world on your product and service. That is the influencer marketing leverage that you can use today. You just have to identify who are those people that you can now onboard as an asset so that way they can help you scale your business. So that's how you use influencer marketing. Those are just some ways. Think about that, but pick one today and figure out how can you become creative, onboard these assets, and really enlist them into your marketing and branding and advertising and promotional efforts. So that way you can get your brand and business to the top. All right. Number four, catching trends. Okay. Catching trends is super huge. When I worked with Ty Lopez, we caught a trend called social media marketing where we created a course, right? We created a course teaching entrepreneurs and business owners how to actually do social media marketing. And out of that course, over 45,000 students went through it. Some of the biggest influencers in the online space today on YouTube, etc. When it comes to social media marketing, that was just one trend that we caught in 2016. I was there for the entire ride. From catching that trend to then ideation, formulation of the entire program, all the way to rolling it out and launching. And then from there, seeing it scale to the top because I was head of the team that actually had to receive all that marketing traffic. Okay. So I got to speak to thousands and thousands and thousands of people that went through that program from the start, from like asking questions about what the program's about, all the way to what they're going to get, all the way to onboarding them, all the way to them seeing success and results. Okay. I got to speak to them face to face. I got to speak to them on the phone, etc. And guess what? Some people became millionaires from that program alone. So I got to see all that and they were super grateful. I remember one of the students who was one of the top students that I still reference to this day. He actually visited the office and did a tour. I was still there at the company. And he said to me, and he shook my hand, he said to me, like, thank you so much. If it wasn't for you and everyone's help, that he wouldn't have the success he has today. With that said, right, catching trends, that's something that we caught as a trend. And then we went all in, okay? We went all into that trend. And that became I like to say this when it comes to that, like legacy positioning, right? Because of that launch, because of the success that it had, it established legacy brand authority for Ty. Because now every single person who knows who he is, they reference his program, the social media marketing program. And guess what? They attribute a lot of their success to him in that program. That's legacy branding right there. He's changed thousands and thousands of people's lives just because of one thing. Okay. And he's done a lot more than that, but just as an example of catching trends, right? This is one trend. So when it comes to catching trends in 2025 and beyond, what is that trend that I see right now? Well, AI, right? Not just AI, but like custom GPT creation, vibe coding, using AI to build apps, using AI to streamline workflows, implementation of AI to automate things in businesses, just the use of AI, okay? It's about adaptability and then execution, ruthless execution as fast as humanly possible that you can do. Guess what? All the people that are using AI today, they are outpacing all the competitors who are not using AI. So 2023, I was looking at at Resurreccion Media. It's a marketing consulting firm that I have, right? We have a advisory practice basically. And the one thing that I asked myself when I started to learn about AI was, is my consulting firm going to be outdated? Is AI going to replace my consulting firm? And guess what? The answer was no. Why? Because of this one quote that I heard from the movie Avatar. It was the one thing that stood out to me from the entire movie. There's a quote that says, if you can't get out of it, then get into it. That was it. That was like a framework, a quote that stuck to my mind. I was like, oh, okay. If I can't get out of AI's way, then I must get into it. I must figure out how can I implement and integrate AI with my consulting firm. And guess what? The simple solution was, because I had such an expertise or a high level, I just have a blueprint that I can custom build around any industry. Integrating AI now allows me to expand the industries I can even help and service. Okay. So I start to use AI for research, for deep domain expertise, for developing different solutions, for creating different types of industries and combining them together to create something new. I use the scientific method, but at a faster iteration pace than just thinking on my own, right? So that's just one example of how I use AI. I built the entire marketing firm around AI now. So I basically put AI at the forefront. And because I believe that in the next 2 to 5 years, everything's going to be more AI based. If my marketing firm is not built around AI with AI as the center, as the foundation, as the infrastructural center, then guess what? 2 to 5 years from now, when that does happen, if it does happen, which I believe it will, I'm going to be outdated already. I already have the foresight of simulation because I just understand different universal principles in business. I might as well just work from the end in mind and work backwards and start with that first, which is what I did. That's why my marketing consulting firm is now an AI enhanced marketing consulting firm, because we joined the AI with the human expertise together to create one solution, one platform. So that way I can now assist any business in any industry, right? It's just about becoming creative, understanding the business fundamentals of that industry. And then from there, now figuring out, all right, what is the solution moving forward, right? It's always problem and solution, and figuring out what's that gap in between that bridges that line in the fastest way with the least amount of resources allocated. So that way you can just do less, but get more. Okay. That's all it is. So that's what I did with that. AI, again, for you and your business, when it comes to AI, if you are not implementing AI in any area of your business, you are already behind, because your competitors, just best believe that your competitors are already trying to figure that out or are already successful at doing it. Okay. AI is the biggest trend, and it's not just a trend, it's something that is literally like uprooting the foundations of society today. If you believe that is actually happening, then get ahead, use this foresight and insight to your advantage, and get that unfair advantage to use AI in your business today. Okay, figure that out. The last pillar of the 5 pillars of massive scale is live calls. Okay, live calls. In 2023, I reported that live calls is like new experiences. It's just live experiences. That's what it is. But in other areas in the world, in other countries outside of the United States, this is already status quo. This has already been tried and true. The live calls experience, where you go on Instagram Live, you go on a YouTube Live, you go on TikTok Live, you go on whatever live, you're live streaming. You are basically doing a live stream and offering your products and services to the market, to the audience that is hopping on your lives. Doing it at scale though, okay? Meaning thousands of people hopping on a live, watching you deliver your product and service, your storytelling, etc. It's really like entertainment mixed with business. Providing entertainment, providing a show, right? Your own show. And then from there, the byproduct and benefit of doing that is you're selling your products and services, which actually increases your brand awareness as well as your revenue in your business. And the businesses and companies and personal brands and etc., just insert whatever that is, doing the live streams today, every single day, even like every hour of the day. Okay, I'm going extreme, but it's not really that extreme because it's already happening in the world. Going live every hour. Those are the brands that, as long as you systemize it and you're able to drive as much traffic and attention, right, viewers to this live stream at one time, those are the brands that are going to outcompete, outlast every other company that does not do that. Here's why I know that. Okay, in 2016, we were doing this with Tai Lopez already. We're going live almost every single day, and the live stream will last 4 hours to 6 hours. Okay, and guess what? That converted into thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars. Not only that, but because of the mechanism that we had when it came to marketing, here's like a 3-step process that we did. Drive as much marketing traffic as possible to the live stream. On the live stream, you deliver as much value as possible. At the like 40 to 60 to 70% mark, you pitch, okay? And then the last part is just overcoming objections, closing, welcoming people who bought, etc., okay? And then from there, you close it out with promoting to the next event or just closing out in general. But essentially, it's marketing, deliver the live stream, and then from there at the end, onboarding everyone. Okay, number 3 is onboarding, right? Making sure that everyone who bought, purchased, starts to get onboarded properly, right? That's essentially what we did. With the live streams in today's world, you are live streaming about whatever your product and service is. And then from there, it's literally about driving as much traffic as possible while that live stream is still happening, okay? Because you have to have marketing 24/7, 365, no matter what, especially when you're live streaming. You're gonna see a lot of people who try to live stream for the first time, they don't get any traffic at all because they haven't built their brand foundation. They don't have a brand that has an audience or a list that they can promote to the live stream. The number one piece that's missing from live streaming successfully is obviously the audience, is your list, is your traffic, your marketing, your attention. So that's number one. You have to build that offline, but you can still do it at the same time as you're getting your reps in for live streaming, right? It just depends on where you're at. Obviously, this is like very general, universal language that I'm speaking, because you might have a company that's doing $10 million top line and you haven't even done social media marketing yet, right? I don't know your specific situation, but there's so many different ways around live streaming in general. Every single brand and business that's not using live streams today to capture more market share, to drive attention and really convert this audience into revenue, into clientele, etc., is just going to miss out. Live streaming is just getting bigger and bigger and bigger, especially in the US market. Outside of the US market, it's already normal, it's already natural, it's already just proven and done at scale. So, how can you, if you are a business owner in the United States, use this piece of information, which is live streaming, to leverage it for your unfair advantage? How can you use it today? Well, the first step is just to live stream right away. Get used to it. Then you start to build a framework, like an intro, like welcome to XYZ company. On this live stream, we're going to talk about XYZ, right? I'm just giving you a format. Then you just talk about what you want to share on the live stream. And then from there, you actually share or do whatever that is that you do. And then from there, the call to action is, if you like this, make sure that you're clicking the button to buy, like shop around, get more people involved here. If you have a friend that needs this product or service, send them this live stream right now so that way they can get the deal. We're promoting a deal for this live stream only. There's so many different ways to do it, right? So you just got to figure out the way that works best for you. You can have fun and also enjoy the process while you're doing it. And then from there, do it over and over and again in a systematic way where you can do it with you and also without you. Your team members can do it, okay? There's a whole proven step-by-step process that you can do. The reason why I know this is because I did this with Ty Lopez, you know? He would do live streams as the main character, and then from there, when he was busy with other things, then someone from the team or myself would step in. I've like stepped in for his live stream a couple times along with Nathan, and we would do the live stream. But it's just about adding as much value to the people and audience that's there in the live stream. And then from there, the people that are ready to buy or the people that just learned about your product or service and they have a problem that you can solve, it's right there. Click of a button, right? They book a call, whatever that is, however the mechanism is that you convert your customers and audience in. Then from there, it's just about doing it at scale over and over again, okay? In a systematic, sustainable, and scalable way, all right? But that's live streaming. This is one of the biggest unfair advantages that you can unlock in today's world, right? Live streaming, because you're capturing the attention right away in real life. That specific moment, right? That's the unfair advantage that live stream has. If you can live stream 24/7, 365 days a year with your brand and business, you have an entire infrastructure built out for live streaming your product and service, and you have a traffic engine that is just constantly feeding the right audience at the right time with those people that have that problem that you solve to your live stream. Here's a question to ask yourself. What is the likelihood of them becoming a paying client or customer for your business? Okay. What is that percentage for you? Is it going to increase it or is it going to decrease it that they're on your live stream? Are they going to get closer to buying from you or are they going to get further away from buying from you? That's a question that you can only experience once you start to do it. Okay. But again, the North Star of the 5 pillars of massive scale is massive scale. Okay, use one of these 5 pillars of massive scale as a leverage to help you achieve massive scale, right? But you have to implement these. Figure out what pillar you can use today. If you can use all 5, amazing. But guess what? It's going to only help you get to your North Star, which is whatever that vision is for your business, your company, etc. It's going to for sure help you get more leads, referrals, and revenue. It's going to for sure help you get closer to becoming the go-to authority in the market. Okay, it's going to help you do all that, but you got to implement it into your business right away. All right. So this was the 5 pillars of mass scale in a nutshell. Every year, there's going to be some type of just, refinement or update, etc. on each of these 5 pillars. But one of the biggest things that I'm seeing already is that the more the world becomes more status quo in terms of entrepreneurship and business, the more these 5 pillars become relevant. And the founders and operators and CEOs that implement these 5 pillars into their business, they figure out those ways to implement all 5 pillars, they achieve massive scale. This is the one thing that's super important to take away from this business, is that even just implementing one of these pillars into your business can unlock so much leverage for you as a business owner that you're now going to become a go-to authority in your field, and everything's going to become easier, okay? Leads will come easier, sales will come easier, networking opportunities will come easier. There's just so much opportunity just comes easier because of the status and position that you're in when you achieve massive scale, okay? But it just starts with these 5, that's it. So if you like this type of content, make sure you subscribe. If you have a question, you need some clarity, then ask a question or send me a private message. And if you're ready to scale your brand and business with my help, then visit my website, start with the client growth audit, okay? It's all about getting clarity first, client growth audit, and then from there we can talk about what is the next step that you and your business needs to take to get to that next level, all right? Hope you have an amazing day, dominate your path, and make it happen. I'll see you in the next one.